Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am here to introduce the subject of conventional energy. You all remember conventional energy. That's what's keeping the lights on at the moment. That is what Nikola Tesla worked on when he developed AC electricity, my fellow countryman, who said his goal was not to develop electricity. His goal was to free humankind from manual labor. And indeed, the lesson of the 20th century is that for at least a third of the world with reliable electric service, another third with intermittent service, electricity has done that. It has freed us from manual labor in many regards. It has brought us light-enabled communications. So a little bit on conventional energy. Well, I think the salutation ought to be, "The king is dead, long live the king." That's the traditional salutation in a monarchy. Now, some pundits would already say that what used to be called King Coal ought to be considered dead, and others would say that the king of transportation's fuel, petroleum, should be dead. But I would use the words of Mark Twain, in which it was also reported that he was dead, and Mark Twain's retort was, "The report of my death was an exaggeration." I think it's the case for coal is likely that coal will continue to dominate as a fuel for electricity production just based on the sheer number and contribution that coal power plants make around the world, especially from the old units in the United States and from the newer units going in China and India. Globally, coal provides about 41% of the electricity produced, natural gas about 20%, hydroelectric, large-scale hydroelectric 16%, and nuclear 15%. Those are, if you will, the conventional energy. In the U.S., for example, 50% of electricity production today is from coal produced. In China, 78%. In India, 59%. And projections of coal use, certainly in China and India, are increasing, not decreasing. Now, we have natural gas and coal together. There is some discussion of natural gas as a bridge fuel, being the bridge between conventional fossil fuel and future renewable energy. And indeed, it may fulfill that role. But it's highly not likely to displace all of the existing coal-fired power plants for a variety of reasons. Yes, today, natural gas is $3 an MCF, but a year ago it was $8 an MCF. And state regulators in this country, which have to approve plants, are very skeptical about the price volatility, and that's an issue that needs to be addressed. In the European Union, where natural gas is predominantly from Russia and is priced against a market basket of oil prices, they don't have this immediate luxury of very low natural gas prices, and so that's a very different story. The third place in electricity production is nuclear. No one projects, I don't believe, that nuclear could or will supplant coal in the foreseeable future. Yes, there will be increases in new nuclear power plants. There are some under construction, there are some on order, and there are some that are planned. But the numbers will moderately increase the contribution of nuclear as older units are phased out for retirement over the next 2 decades. And we also have the issue of nuclear power in that in many locations there is a political opposition to anything with the word nuclear in it, regardless of the benefits. So, could the most popular renewable energy resources, solar and wind, displace conventional fuels in the near future, let's say the next decade or two? Well, certainly future expansion of renewable energy will occur. Large-scale wind and solar facilities are going in all around the world. You heard earlier about Texas. And double-digit increases in renewables will continue. On a global basis, though, today, electricity production is about 4.1% from wind and 1.4% from solar. So they start from a very small base. As was recently observed in the case of the glass half-full optimism by Ray Kurzweil, the famous inventor and futurist, he says, "We're doubling the amount of solar energy we produce every 2 years, which means we're only 8 doublings away from meeting our energy needs." Well, on the side of the glass half empty, 8 doublings is a lot to wish for in the next decade or two. The answer to the question of the future role of conventional energy can probably be found in the recently comprehensive energy report produced by the U.S. National Petroleum Council, on which I have the honor to serve. This council advises the Secretary of Energy, and the President was established in the 1940s after World War II to apprise the President of the oil petroleum situation in the world, predominantly oil executives and other energy executives on the council. In July 2007, they issued a report about the global oil and gas situation to the year 2030. The report is entitled, "The Hard Truths, Facing the Hard Truths About Energy." This report was the product of about a year and a half work by over 350 direct participants from the energy industry, from academia, from non-governmental organizations, from governmental laboratories, from the oil, gas, electric, nuclear, all the different power sectors, and about 1,000 other participants submitted comments and reports, and it incorporates an analysis of 100 earlier reports. The conclusions from that report include the following. The world is not running out of energy resources, quote, but there are accumulating risks to continuing expansion of oil and natural gas production from conventional sources relied upon historically. These risks create significant challenges to meeting practical total energy demand. To mitigate these risks, expansion of all economic sources will be required, including coal, nuclear, biomass, other renewables, and unconventional oil and natural gas.